Hi everyone. So I have never discussed this with anyone. I'm kind of nervous because it's something that's been challenging for me to talk about. So here we go. If anyone can relate, I hope this video just reminds you that you're not alone in feeling this way or perhaps being wired in this way. But let's get into the video. So I want to talk about kind of a pattern that's played out in my life. So I have someone that I know that I've just been hearing about them getting taken advantage of, particularly financially. Someone taking money out of their account without permission and then starting to actually ask. And just treating this person with a lot of disrespect. And I've just been getting so upset and wondering how to help the person, not knowing how not to embroil or insert myself in their struggles when that is happening. And, I care about this person. And I think for me, it makes it particularly maybe tender because I have experienced this to some extent as well. So I know how it can feel like there's no limits to the other person and what it's like. I've been reflecting over, when people are going through things in life, what is the kind thing to do? Is it to try to help them with everything, get embroiled in their struggles, or give them space and, not try to just make everything better for them and, give them a push if you feel like they're needing it and they're not seeing the reality of the situation. And it's got me thinking, this is relevant because we as Christians, we're called to minister and help people. But I always wonder, what is the right way to do this, especially if you're wired in a way where you want to make everything better for everyone, you want to help everyone. You want to alleviate everyone's struggles and pain. As someone that has, been through that myself and didn't really have someone to kind of hold my hand and, guide me through that, other than God. And didn't, really have a lot of support, in my life. But I've kind of been wondering if, here, I'm gonna let my dog in real quick. Sorry. Come here, Jordy! You can do it! Come here. Oh, okay. Just as long as you're not walking on the laptop. Okay. So, I just want to say I'm sorry if my voice is really gravelly. I woke up. I know it's not the best sound to listen to. But, yeah. I apologize if my voice is gravelly. I feel like it doesn't make for as good of a video experience, but maybe it's just because I'm bothered by hearing when my voice sounds gravelly and it doesn't necessarily feel the best. But anyways, I've kind of been thinking about how I wonder if the way that I try to help people sometimes, especially this particular person in my life, if it, is kind of a sense of codependency that I deal with or tend to lean towards. I think this situation is challenging because it's like you're hearing about someone being taken from, you're hearing about someone being disrespected, but then, like, when I lead them to, like, do something, or I'm like, this is what's happening, it feels like it's not really getting through to them. Today, they had told me that someone had ended up withdrawing from their account, so that now it's in the negatives. Not hugely in the negative, like -10, but at this point, I was, like, getting upset, and I was just like, okay, now's the time to, like, cut off access to that person being able to have to your bank account. I was getting upset because, like, I don't want to see this person end up, having this other person in their life rack up a lot of debt, and I get the person's really close to them, but it's so challenging to hear that and watch that, and then, to just encourage them, hey, um, you know, call your bank, have them explain what's happening if you need to close down that account, her being able to have access to it. But I realized I get really upset to see this person being treated like this. And then to fully not see them put their foot down, but I get it. Like, they are nervous about, like, how the person's going to react. I do understand that, but I don't want something to happen because they didn't end up doing that. So I realized I was getting pretty upset today. I was getting upset yesterday as well, but I realized I was getting really upset today, and I really was just like, okay, I've hit my limit. I need to stop sending them messages. I told them everything, that I possibly could. And at this point, it's really weighing on me, even though it's not happening to me. And I started, I've wondered this for a while, if there is, like, a sense of codependency there when you're trying to not only encourage the person, to not be taken advantage of anymore, but also, you're trying to minister to them. But anyways, you can weigh in the comments down below. I don't know how to balance my desire to help other people and want to alleviate people's struggles with, like, it not being this codependent thing where you're trying to help everyone else. And it's not that I don't look at my own life, because I do, but I realize you can look at your own life and simultaneously be, like, trying to help other people too. Just because I focus on my own life doesn't mean that, like, completely takes that, desire away. And I don't think it's a bad desire. I do think that to some extent, it's just how I'm wired, is to help people. And I don't know if I find a sense of identity in it. I feel like I just get so heightened emotionally when I see certain things happening, especially if I've been on the other end of that, and I've been on the other end of, like, having empathy, or, being afraid to do something because of being afraid of reactions, but, yeah. I think this is a good question to ask, because very often, Christians, part of your life, or even just as humans, we want to help people. We want to alleviate their pain, their struggles. We want to make everything better for them, but how much is too much? And what is the real kind thing to do with people? To be that person, or maybe be that person's circumstances, or to give space and just be there as support for the person. And I've wanted this for a long time, and I don't know how to be that person. But it always amazes me, because even when I do these things and I feel like I'm being pushy or sometimes controlling when you tell people what to do, but when you feel like they're not seeing the reality of like what's really going on, like I don't feel good after I do it. I hate that I get into that cycle. But it's like my emotions feel so strongly for this person, wanting to help them, that it's like, even though there's something that I don't like in terms of how I respond, or it's, not maybe healthy for me, I keep doing it. Until this morning, where I realized, like, hey, I've reached my limit. I've said all that I can say. I need to stop, because I feel like I'm embroiling myself in another person's struggles and inserting myself, and I've done enough. The reason that I bring up this topic is kind of my whole life, you kind of are able to like spot certain patterns, and there's been a certain amount of foresight that I have dealt with. Truthfully, before my grandpa passed away in real life, I had a dream about him passing away, maybe like a year before it happened. Now, with my grandpa was diabetic, and I remember years ago just thinking, my grandpa's diabetes really needs to be taken care of. You would read about, someone passing away due to diabetic coma, which isn't what happened. But I remember just thinking, if I could just like cook all my meals for my grandpa, or if I could just convince my grandma or someone, because she would, make all the food for the most part, how important this is somehow, then maybe I can prevent this bad thing from happening. And I felt a lot of guilt, and I felt really powerless, and I, would tell family, and I felt like I didn't understand. I'd be like, like I would cry and just be like, something's gonna happen if it's not taken care of. And, I would have people tell me, there's not really anything you can do, like, if, they don't, change things and, address it. We even had like doctors, a doctor trying to address that too. And so my grandpa, the diabetes really did affect him, and he got diabetic neuropathy. He had like a sore in his foot that it started out as, and then that was like cut out, and then it came back another time. And then eventually, basically, the infection was going to spread to his whole body unless he had his leg amputated. So they amputated his leg. That was really challenging to see my grandpa like go through that. Like, obviously, I wasn't there when it happened, but to watch that happen was very, very, very hard. And my grandpa's in heaven now, I'm sure he's having like an amazing time. I'm sure heaven is just incredible, but it was really heartbreaking and heart-wrenching to see all that happen. I really have wrestled with this for a long time when you just, sometimes you see patterns, sometimes you almost see what's going to happen. Sometimes it's just like you've been through certain experiences, like with my friend, but I've wrestled for many years since I was probably a teen with just seeing different things and wanting to help people so badly, wanting to make everything better for everyone, and to some capacity trying to prevent certain things from happening. I've wrestled with that like a lot, where I don't know how to navigate it when I'm wired in this way. And I don't know the right thing to do when you have people in your life and you're seeing them go through certain things, or maybe there's certain like lived experiences that you have gone through where you kind of see what's happening, and do you talk about something? Do you share something that you wish someone would have told you, or do you kind of keep your mouth shut and not say anything? And I've wrestled with this like so much. I wish like I had the ability to just let people live their lives, because it just I have a friend that she is just amazing at just letting people be who they are, and she'll encourage people to do what is right, or what is going to be the healthy thing. But she's just amazing at like not giving advice, but just like being there for support. And I always wonder like how to do that. But she's so good at it. That I almost wonder if like that's how you're supposed to be when it comes to supporting people in their struggles, instead of kind of sometimes trying to kind of take over or try to make things have a certain outcome, even if you do see someone in pain, and you're just trying to lead them toward that place in their life. I know everyone will disagree on this topic and how to navigate it, but it's something that I have not known how to navigate for a long time. And as someone that does feel like wired to help people in some way, it's like I really want to understand how to navigate this, in the future too, where you're not taking people's pain and struggles and problems completely on your shoulders. But yeah. So if anyone wants to like sound off in the comments, like feel free. I don't know what to do sometimes. There's a quote from the movie Perks of Being a Wallflower that Charlie says, and if you've seen Perks of Being a Wallflower, I just relate to it like so much. And he talks about how, I'm not going to get this quote right, so but he talks about like there's just so much pain, everywhere, everyone. And I really do that quote like so much. It's very challenging sometimes to just be present with people because like you just see their pain or how things are affecting them, or you're hearing about their struggles, and it's like you just want to do everything you can to make everything better for everyone, or you want to just just fix whatever is bothering them in their life, if they are like struggling too, or they just want someone to be able to help them, or you just want to alleviate any struggles that anyone is going through that are affecting them. Or I've only had kind of a few times where God has like kind of taught me kind of how to navigate things, and one of them is if anyone relates to this, we're not meant to take people's pain upon our shoulders and almost in a sense take it into our hearts. For me at the time, I was just like worrying about a lot of things, and like my heart would start racing because of like just the stress, because when you are really kind of moved by different things people are going through, and you want to help, it can feel like extra stressors. But that was something God had ministered to me, is like when we feel these things, we're meant to lift these things up to God. And I'll let you out, sweetie. Don't worry. Hey, girl, being so fun. But I used to struggle with like kind of compulsive praying. Like the obsession would be the things people were going through, and then the compulsion would be me trying to pray to try to make everything better, or try to think somehow it could prevent something bad from happening. This can kind of fall under the umbrella of OCD, and it did at the time, but I don't necessarily like to identify with that or kind of see myself as someone through that lens. But yeah, something else that has helped me is whenever you're spending time with God, whenever you are lifting up your struggles, your pain to Him, just kind of in this way of also looking at anything that anyone else is going through that is weighing heavy on you. You're also lifting that up to Him and just believing He hears your prayers, and He is meeting that person. He's going to help take care of that person. There was one time where God ministered to me. It's not your job to make sure everyone's okay. And I think that's really what it maybe boils down to for me, is I want to make sure everyone's okay. I don't want anyone to be in pain. I don't want anything to happen to anyone. Obviously, these things are an inevitable part of life, but God had ministered to me, it's not your job to make sure everyone's okay. And then I just was like, well, who says that then? And I just felt Him minister to me, mine. And I was just like, wow. And it really kind of changed my perspective on who God is, to see God as this person that he is always trying to take care of everyone and make sure everyone's okay. But there is a spiritual enemy, and there is pain and destruction that tries to kind of battle against that simultaneously. So yeah. If you're wondering, like I have, why doesn't God just destroy the enemy in a last second if he is responsible for a lot of suffering and pain and evil and destruction? I believe, again, this is something that God ministered to me that just was really, really huge, because I had such a challenging time reconciling God's goodness with pain and suffering, and faith with that. And what God had ministered to me is love does not destroy. And so the enemy, right, the Bible says he comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But God doesn't destroy, because God is both a God of love and justice, also grace and mercy, that essentially can coexist together. And because the enemy is the one that destroys, love doesn't destroy. Grace wouldn't be destroying the enemy in a flat second, nor would love be that, nor would mercy. Because God is a God of justice, but he is also a God of love, grace, and mercy. And that's why I believe the enemy is not just destroyed in the last second by God. Okay, without getting too into it. But yeah, that one off topic. I'm just wondering, what is the kind of thing to do? How do you navigate social situations when someone is going through something in a way that is not maybe more leaning toward the codependent side of things? Or maybe, I need to just not feel ashamed and feel like there's something wrong with me, and maybe, because I don't do this with everyone in my life, but maybe I need to stop looking down on that and feeling ashamed, and just maybe, for certain people that it's needed and it helps, because the person that I have been talking to, they've been completely receptive, they've appreciated it, but I don't like the way that I navigate things, and I don't like how, if you know anything about codependency and just trying to make everything better for everyone, that it can be stressful. You're trying to take care of everything for everyone else, or perhaps giving advice, or you're, I don't want to say you're trying to control, but it can feel like you are in the moment when, you keep telling someone something, or ministering to someone, or just helping them understand the importance kind of what's going on. But I don't know. You can feel free to set off in the comments below. But I want things to be different, where I don't do that in that way. by approaching things a different way without getting embroiled in someone's struggle or inserting myself, but in a way where you can still be there to support them and help them. And maybe, I don't think I necessarily find identity in helping people, but maybe I do, I don't know. I just feel so strongly like wired in that way. And I don't know what to do if I don't get to, like, yeah. Anyways, that is kind of the morning talk for today. I've been really nervous about talking about this because it's something that I have really wrestled with when it comes to myself, and just I have had a lot of shame around being that person that gives some sense of unsolicited advice. And maybe you're good at giving advice, I'm not saying that, but if you really, but just, I don't like being that person. I don't like being that person that feels like a know-it-all to other people, or and I don't like things being misunderstood and misconstrued with how you try to help people, because it does come from a place of just, I don't want people to go through certain things I have or certain things that happen, but I realize that I can't necessarily, fully control that. If anyone knows what I mean about this and you're able to take space and not embroil yourself in people's struggles, please share with me how you do that or how you think about those circumstances, because I don't know how. But I want to learn. I do think there's some codependency there, but I might be wrong. I don't really know. But yeah. Yeah. Feel free to sound off in the comments below, kind of about anything, but I want to navigate things in a different way. I don't want to do things the way I have for a long time. And if anyone relates to understanding kind of being wired in that way, or seeing patterns, or almost feel like you see what's going to happen if someone goes down that same road, please tell me, how do you navigate, how do you navigate friendships and relationships in a way where it's there's a healthy boundary between your life and that person's life. And yeah, I just mentioned this because I've had people be receptive to it. I've also had people not like it very much, and which probably were not going to like me anyway, but I've had people, when they have been dealing with something, I have noticed, okay, I remember going through this, and do I tell them? No, I don't want to tell them. No, I don't want to tell them. I don't tell them. And then it won't leave your mind, and so you're kind of okay, I'm going to tell them. If it helps them, then that's great. And so you do, and then you don't think they appreciate it very much. So then things are super awkward, and it's how do you just let people live their life? How do you just let them live their life and just make mistakes or go through experiences without trying to always draw from your lived experience, or try to prevent certain things from happening? And what is the kind thing to do? Is the kind thing to do to just sit back and not insert yourself and embroil embroil yourself in their struggles, not give advice whatsoever, not share your lived experience whatsoever? Or is it to be okay with maybe sharing that and being that person, and know that your heart is in the right place and you have good intentions, and as long as you know that, and that's where it's coming from, that you don't have to be ashamed of that or feel like you're navigating it wrong. But yeah, just something I wanted to discuss on here for a while. I just haven't, because like I said, it's something that I really struggle with, and I don't know how to navigate it, and there can be a lot of shame for me of feeling like I am dealing with things wrong. But yeah, I hope this video, if anyone relates, makes you feel less alone. But thank you for watching. God bless you.